the Environmental Protection Agency is cracking down on pollution from some 200 chemical plants from Texas to the Ohio River Valley. Administrator Michael Regan said the new regulations offer, quote, strong final standards to slash pollution, reduce cancer risk, and ensure cleaner air for nearby communities. Also today, an appeals court upheld the EPA's decision to allow California to set its own tailpipe emissions limits and electric vehicle requirements. Europe's highest human rights court ruled today that the Swiss government has not done enough to protect its citizens from climate change. Experts say it's the first ruling of its kind. A group of 2,000 elderly Swiss women brought the case. The landmark ruling was read in a packed court in France. One of the Swiss plaintiffs reacted afterward.
Senior Women for Climate brought climate and fundamental rights to court for the first time. And the court recognized our fundamental right to a healthy climate and to have our country do what it failed to do until now, to take ambitious measures to protect our health and future.
The court rejected 2 other climate cases on procedural grounds. That all follows the EU Climate Agency announcing that last month was the hottest March on record. Rail operator Norfolk Southern has agreed to a $600 million settlement for last year's train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. The train caught fire and released more than 1 million gallons of hazardous material. Residents within 20 miles of the crash who suffered, quote, potential adverse impacts are eligible for compensation. Hamas says it's reviewing the latest Israeli ceasefire proposal delivered by Egyptian and Qatari mediators at talks in Cairo. It would include a 6-week pause in fighting and a swap of 40 Israeli hostages for 700 Palestinian prisoners. Speaking to military recruits today, Israel's prime minister doubled down on his pledge to eliminate Hamas forces in southern Gaza.
We will complete the elimination of Hamas brigades, including in Rafah. There is no force in the world that will stop us. Many are trying to do so, but it will not help, since this enemy, after what it did, will never do it again.
Meanwhile, Israel says 468 aid trucks entered Gaza today. That's the most since the war began. Gaza was also top of the agenda during a visit to Washington today by British Foreign Secretary David Cameron. Speaking at a joint press conference, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the U.S. had not received a date for a full-scale invasion of Rafah, but expects to meet with the Israelis next week.
How Israel conducts any further operations in Gaza matters a great deal, and as we've said, we're talking to them about alternative and, in our judgment, effective ways at solving a problem that needs to be solved, but doing it in a way that does not endanger the innocent.
Back in this country, former President Donald Trump has suffered a second defeat in as many days over his bid to delay his hush money trial. A New York appeals court judge rejected his request to stall the proceedings as he fights a gag order. Trump pleaded not guilty last year to 34 counts of falsifying business records related to payments to an adult film star. Jury selection is set to begin next week.